His Darkling Creature by Èirgrude Ma, illustrated by Art Gains. Chapter 4. Vengeance, Death and Magic. Last night the green-skinned invaders descended from their mountains and attacked our neighbors, the tribe to which my dancing partner belonged. Now I stand over her broken body, discarded in the dust like refuse. Fennec, my soft, warm thing, I will not lift you up again, save to carry you to the place where you will be prepared for burial. Her face, which once carried the markings of her father's house, is now painted with her own blood. Around her, her tribe's totems to the Sky Father lie shattered and defiled. The sand drinks deeply of this red ruin. Fennec's little sister was carried off. She is only 8. What horrors await her in the mountain lairs of the green skins? I dare not imagine. Yet I cannot stop these dark thoughts. The Greens worship fat, ugly goddesses that demand blood and anguished cries as part of their filthy rites. The thought makes bile rise in my throat. I clench my fists until my knuckles pale, my jaw tight enough to crack teeth. This evil cannot stand. The Sky Father's eye sees all, and he cannot allow evil to flourish. The Greens spit in the face of the gods with their blasphemies. Retribution must come, swift and sure as lightning. I and my fellow warriors will be the Sky Father's spear of retribution. There is no question of what must come. Enemy blood will flow down their mountains until new rivulets and streams are carved in the living stone. For Fennec, for her little sister, for all these my allies, whose bodies now lie here before me broken on the sand. We will not stop until the debt is paid, until they see such desolation and despair that the greenskins themselves will slay any one of their own number who suggests creeping forth like vermin out of their mountain haunts. I wrap Fennec in a bit of cloth. The women have ceased their wailing and soon will begin making preparations to bury the dead. I catch up the body of the desert girl in my arms one last time and begin to carry her to them. Not a single tear issues from my eyes. Weeping is for women. My calling now is vengeance and swift justice brought down upon the wicked. Perhaps when I am old and grey I shall shed a tear for sweet, soft Fennec, when I tell the tales of my youth, when age has sapped the vigour from my bones, and I dwell more in the past than in the present, but not before. Torbah stands tall among the circle of warriors, his scarred and hoary chest gleaming in the setting light of the sun. His voice carries the weight of many battles. We strike swift and silent. The green skins expect us to mourn and bury our dead before taking action. I grip my spear and stamp the earth with it. Around me, 20 of our warriors listen with grim faces. Each man carries the same fire in his belly that burns in mine. The enemy is there, Torbah continues, pointing toward the mountains. We will climb the goat paths under cover of darkness, cry out no challenge until the killing begins. Keth speaks up. What of prisoners? Kill them all. These are not men who can be reasoned with or ransomed back to their mothers. They are vermin that somehow learn to walk and jabber. Torbah's strategy unfolds. First we will find some camp of the greenskins. It matters not if they are the exact same fellows who brought destruction upon our friends. Then we will split into 3 groups. Torbah will lead the main force up the center. I will join the left flank with 6 others. The remaining warriors will take the right approach. We will converge upon them like the 3-pronged traps we use to catch sand snakes. The Sky Father watches, Torbah declares. We are his hammer, and we will drive the greenskins into the earth. The ascent into green territory tests every sinew. These are not the familiar dunes of home, but treacherous slopes where loose shale slides beneath our feet, threatening to alert the enemy of our location. Twice I catch myself from falling, my fingernails scraping against jagged stone. A misstep here means a tumble down razor-sharp rocks that would leave a man's bones scattered like dice. In the darkness, shapes move that are not rocks. A mountain cat pads across our path, its yellow eyes reflecting starlight. We freeze until it disappears into shadow. Later, something crashes through the brush ahead, too large for a deer, too clumsy for a predator. There is no knowing what it was. None of us speak, but we all think the same thought. Green skins patrol these heights. My lungs work harder with each step upward. Behind us, the desert spreads like a dark sea under the half-moon. Ahead, the peaks rise into starlight, their summits lost in shadow. Torbah raises a fist, signaling us to halt. An encampment of filthy greens lies before us. The encampment squats in a natural bowl between three ridges. Firelight dances between crude shelters made of animal hides and timber. I count 5 crude structures that are barely more than tents. The greens sleep like animals, packed together for warmth. Torbah points at them with his spear, and his scowl deepens. We descend. The killing begins without ceremony. My blade finds green flesh before its owner fully awakens. The creature tries to scream, but only manages a wet gurgle as my bronze point opens its throat. Around me, my brothers move like water and shadow through the camp. Bronze meets bone with sharp cracks. These are not the greens who murdered Fennec, but they share the same putrid blood. They reek of spoiled meat and their own filth. Their skin glistens weirdly in the moonlight, unlike any true child of any virtuous god. A green warrior emerges from a larger shelter, clutching a crude metal blade. His eyes sit too far apart on his skull, like a fish that has learned to walk. I duck his wild swing and drive my spear into his belly. He doubles over, vomiting black blood onto my feet. The slaughter moves with brutal efficiency. These greens fight like cowards, no honor, no formation, just wild flailing and attempts to flee into the night. We cut them down like wheat before the sickle. When the thing is done, 37 green corpses litter the camp. We lost no one. Grim satisfaction fills my chest, but it tastes bitter. This cannot bring back Fennec or undo the defilement of her people's totems. Among the carnage, movement catches my eye. A green attempts to crawl away, leaving a trail of blood on the rocky ground. Half its face hangs in ribbons, but it still draws breath. I stride over and plant my foot on its neck. Where are the prisoners from last night's raid? The creature's remaining eye fixes on mine with malevolent intelligence. Despite its wounds, it manages a rasping laugh. Prisoners, they scream and scream, desert scum. Our goddess, Alimunthuma, feasts well on their tender skins. My spear point hovers above its throat. Tell me what cave they've been taken to. Perhaps I wish to see this thing you speak of. We take prisoners to our great camp now, fool. The stronghold in the next valley. Listen carefully. If you strain your ears, perhaps you'll hear their howls as their skin is flayed from their bodies. The creature's cackle turns my stomach. My spear trembles in my grip. There is movement by my side. Torbah waves me away. I move my foot, and the old man's spear takes the green skin through the neck. Its laughter dies in a wet rattle. Do not speak with the vermin, Torbah tells me. It is a cruel jest of the gods to breathe life and voice into these creatures in the first place. The only truck we have with them is death. I nod, though my jaw remains clenched. The green's words echo in my mind. Fennec's little sister. What horrors has she endured? We gather spoils from the dead, weapons poorly made, though the metal may be of some use, bits of copper and bronze, a few jade ornaments that must have been stolen from other victims. The greens create nothing of value, only take and corrupt. As the war party prepares to depart, I approach Torbah. The older warrior cleans enemy blood from his spear with a rag. I wish to scout the next valley. That creature mentioned a great camp. Torbah studies my face with eyes that have seen too many battles. The corded muscles of his arms flex as he considers. The greens usually congregate in caves, not encampments of any considerable size. This is something new. Thou showest wisdom and forethought. You will gain honor through this. But remember. He grips my shoulder in his strong hand and yanks me backwards and forwards. Let your mind rule your heart, not the reverse. Scout only. Take no action alone. We are not assassins, but the holy avenging hand of the Sky Father himself, who doeth nothing secretly and in the dark. I meet his gaze and nod. Behind my eyes, plans already form that I do not share. There are other gods besides the Sky Father, and I am prepared to commit myself to them for the night. I will commit myself to the Black Sun, the Dark Revenger, the Shadow, the one crafted as a dark reflection of the Sky Father to ensure the divine will is done even in hidden places and in the night. Torbah has not even given a thought to rescuing the prisoners alive. His experience will not let him hope, but I am young and stupid and enraged, and I think perhaps there is a sliver of hope in my heart. Also, my thirst for blood is not sated. The war party makes haste for home, laden with spoils and the satisfaction of vengeance. I climb higher into the mountains, following goat trails that wind between towering peaks. The moon lights my path. Hours pass before I reach the ridge overlooking the next valley. What spreads below steals the breath from my lungs. It is indeed a great camp. The Greens have built a veritable town in this hidden place. This is a thing of which I would have not thought them capable. Dozens of permanent structures cluster around two massive buildings, a longhouse that could shelter hundreds, and a temple with walls of fitted stone. Smoke rises from countless fires. Green shapes move between the buildings like ants in a disturbed hill. I count more enemies than blades of grass after the spring rains. Our war party of 20 would last moments against such numbers. The temple draws my attention. If prisoners were brought here for sacrifice, that cursed place would be their destination. But from this distance, I cannot see movement around the building or determine if any captives still live. I begin my descent. The Greens keep poor watch. Their sentries huddle around fires, more concerned with warmth than vigilance. I slip between shadows, moving from one heap of refuse to another. The entire encampment reeks like a charnel house. Bones, rotting meat, and offal lie scattered everywhere. An entire army could probably sneak through this filth without detection. Twice I freeze as green shapes pass nearby. Once, a sentry stumbles so close I could touch his leg, but his eyes remain fixed on his distant fire. The temple looms ahead, its stone walls carved with obscene figures that make my skin crawl. As I creep closer, my worst fears prove true. Bodies hang from wooden frames before the temple entrance. Human bodies, men, women, children, all flayed and mutilated beyond easy recognition. There are more here than were taken in last night's raid. Some of these must have been taken from elsewhere. The stench of death mingles with putrid incense that burns from braziers flanking the temple door. Among the corpses, I find her. Fennec's little sister dangles from leather cords, her small body bearing wounds that speak of prolonged torment. Her eyes stare sightlessly at stars she will never see again. Rage builds in my chest like molten bronze. My vision blurs red. Such hate rises within me that I actually go blind, and for a moment I fear that the Dark Revenger is about to possess me and send me berserking through this city, killing everything that crosses my path until I meet my end. But no, my sight returneth, and biting cold replaceth my rage. My pulse slows, and a strange looseness flows outward from my heart to my every extremity. Movement near the temple catches my attention. A figure emerges from the doorway, ancient, misshapen, draped in robes that cannot conceal her grotesque form. The priestess laughs with another female green, perhaps an acolyte of her order, their voices carrying easily in the night air. After a few moments, her companion departs, leaving her alone. She waddles back into the temple like a toad seeking its burrow. I circle to the temple's rear wall. The stones here fit poorly together, leaving gaps large enough for a man to squeeze through. Or perhaps there is a reason for the gaps. I care not. I shed my weapons, except for my bronze dagger, and force myself through the narrow opening. The temple's interior assaults every sense. The air hangs thick with incense made with rancid fat. Torches cast dancing shadows across walls covered in vile murals. The paintings show their goddess involved in various obscenities, feasting on human sacrifices or cavorting degenerately with beasts. At the chamber's heart squats the idol itself, Alimun Thumma, I presume. The thing is wider than it stands tall, a mountainous female form carved from multiple pieces of badly fitted wood. It is painted green and white, the flesh tones of these creatures, but in places, the pigment has flaked away to reveal raw timber beneath. The goddess sits cross-legged, her swollen belly drooping between massive thighs. Pig-like eyes peer out from beneath rolls of sculpted fat. Most strange of all, wisps of vapor swirl around it. This is not smoke. This is some sorcery or magic, the likes of which I have never seen. As it swirls, the vapor congeals into bat-like shapes that make a single flap with their wings and then dissipate. This is a magic far more powerful than anything possessed by my people. Our magics reside within ourselves. We cannot send it forth from us. Before this monstrosity, the priestess stands and writhes. I cannot imagine what she thinks she is doing, but it smacks of insanity and debauch. The vapor reacts to her movements. Her back shows through torn robes, a landscape of sagging flesh and discolored spots. What hair remains on her skull hangs in greasy strands. When she turns slightly, I glimpse rotted teeth protruding from infected gums. What sort of people are these, that they honor creatures of such repulsiveness that dress themselves in rags? Around her neck hang ornaments that make my stomach lurch. They are human body parts, taken from their sacrifices. She begins to chant in the green tongue, her voice like grinding stones. The words mean nothing to me, but their cadence speaks of horrible things done in darkness. Again, the vapor seems to react to her incantations. I draw my dagger and move on silent feet. The priestess remains lost in her weird devotions, unaware of the death approaching behind her. My blade finds the arteries of her throat. She stiffens once, then crumples forward, without a sound. Black blood pools beneath her, steaming in the torchlight. The vaporous bats converge on me in fury. I see tiny translucent claws and fangs. I feel tiny pinpricks of pain over my face and chest, but little more than I might feel if a tiny beetle traversed my flesh, grasping at my skin with his little clawed feet. This new green magic is weak, at least for the moment. I swat the sorcerous things away like flies. The priestess lies before me. Killing her is not enough. The idol must be defiled as they defiled our totems. I leave the body where it lies, like the refuse and trash that surrounds this place. The bats remain behind as if reluctant to follow me. Taking a lamp, I pour its foul contents upon the upper surface of the idol's belly. Then I take fire-making supplies from beside one of the temple's braziers and pile them on top. Then I light it all. Fire licks the goddess's chins and scorches her pendulous breasts. The green and white paint begins to peel away. Smoke fills the chamber, displacing the nauseating miasma of this place. The vapor and the bats disappear, and I cannot tell whither they went. The familiar and wholesome smell of burning wood brings memories that do not belong here. I shake myself, and the coldness that had steeled my hand evaporates. I squeeze back through the gap in the stones and emerge into the night air. Soon the greens will discover their goddess burns and their priestess lies dead. I collect my other weapons and sprint through the encampment, no longer concerned with stealth. The Dark Revenger guides my steps, and I avoid detection, but I know the hunt will begin soon. Passing out of the camp, I scramble up the rocky slope. Loose stones clatter beneath my feet, but speed matters more than silence now. I am halfway up the slope when alarmed cries echo from the valley floor. A line of torches streams out of the settlement in my direction. They have detected me somehow, despite the fact that the slope I climb is shadowed from the light of the moon. I hurl myself over the top of the ridge, then begin scrambling down the other side. My lungs burn in the cold air, but I cannot rest. Only speed and the Dark Revenger's hand will save me now. After a dozen steps, torchlight blooms behind me. A fierce red glow that grows stronger with each heartbeat, as if whomever carries it rushes toward me with the swiftness of a lion. My shadow stretches down the mountainside ahead of me, black and sharp-edged. I am astounded. How could they have reached the peak of the ridge when they were many hundreds of feet further down the opposite slope mere moments before? I turn to face the green skins and freeze in wonder. There are no green skins, and there is no torch. A ball of fire rushes toward me across the night sky. It passes straight over the place where I stand, and at its core I spot a flattened silver orb, slender and nut-shaped. Fire trails behind it, and it roars like a furnace. I feel the mountain shake beneath my feet as it passes. For a moment it is close enough that I feel heat wash across my upturned face. The fireball disappears behind the next range of mountains, but its light lingers on the clouds above. Smoke marks its path through the air.